Well, let's talk about Scrooged. Pardon me to say this, but spoilers ahead, so hit that like button and come back later. So this is a pretty underrated Christmas movie in my opinion. My favorite character in this film has to be Frank. Bill Murray's role in this movie as Frank is one of the most underrated performances I've ever seen him do. Whenever you talk about Bill Murray in a movie, you usually think of him in Ghostbusters or Caddyshack, but I am so surprised that nobody talks about his performance in this movie. Bill Murray gives such an excellent performance in this movie, and it's such a shame that people don't really talk about his performance in this movie as much as they do with his other work. So this is one of my favorite adaptations to A Christmas Carol. This movie has a nice amount of dark humor, but also has a good amount of wholesome moments too, where you can watch this with the family during the holiday season. While rewatching this movie, I found this film to be a little bit ahead of its time when it came to commercializing over Christmas. Also, in my opinion, I think that this movie is one of the darkest adaptations to A Christmas Story. Take what may happen to Calvin, basically the Tiny Tim of this movie, in an alternate future. In most adaptations to A Christmas Story, the Tiny Tim in that story in an alternate timeline would pass away from an illness, but in this movie, they have Calvin go to a mental hospital due to him not talking. Also, the three ghosts in this movie are just so much fun to watch, some of my personal favorite ghosts in any Christmas Carol adaptation. My favorite moment of this film has to be when Frank sees his own funeral. In my opinion, I think this is one of Bill Murray's best performances. I mean, if I was in Frank's situation here, I too would also be calling out to everybody in the room saying that I'm alive and don't cremate me if I saw this whole situation unravel in front of me too. But what makes this scene so memorable to me is that when you see Frank pulling on the casket, you see him going closer and closer towards the fire, and then suddenly he's in this tiny room that's crushing up against him, and he starts to catch on fire himself. It's just one of the most claustrophobic scenes I've seen in film yet. I give this film an 8.8 out of 10, giving it a B+. Anyway, that's the review. Go down to his comments, tell me what you thought of Scrooged. Share this video with all your friends, and click that like and follow button to keep up to date with all my latest content. See ya and happy holidays.